Hello folks, this is Steve AB4EL. Now what I'm going to do is just have fun, but it's modeled on something that happened earlier this evening. Pardon me. So I'm going to go to Google search, and put in something like who is diverting petroleum in Nigeria. All right. Now, I just made that up. IP Man, whoever that is, this is Punch Newspapers, December 12th, 2023. The Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria has alleged diversion of petroleum products meant for depots to private individuals. Now, the idea for me to put that question in comes from something that I read months ago. I think I even made a partial video on it. So the suggestions that other people have asked is, which president removed fuel subsidy in Nigeria? Who regulates petroleum in Nigeria? You know where Nigeria is, right? West Africa? Who controls the oil industry in Nigeria? Why did Nigerian government remove fuel subsidy? Well, this is a UN magazine, but like premiumtimesnigeria.com, July 2022. Petroleum marketers deny involvement in fuel diversion. The Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria, IPAN, now we got it, has denied involvement in the diversion of petroleum products by any of its February 2024, Tinubu's government diverting funds through secret petrol subsidy, somebody alleges. Vanguard News, how product diversion, pump manipulation, fuel. This is again, you see there's a whole series of articles. Nigeria is a petroleum producer. It has been for a long time. It's an important, big money industry that doesn't make any money for Nigeria because it's had a long, very African habit of tapping into pumps and pipelines and trucks pulling up and filling up. Go sell it in the local market instead of it being loaded onto ships. I'm not making it up. Read it. So I'm going to take this. Now watch. This is the experiment. Bing. This is the Microsoft search engine. I want to learn new schools. You can ask questions. Ask Copilot. That's what they're pushing. I'm not promoting anything. Ask Copilot. It says I want to learn new skills and techniques, and it's giving me some kind of answer. stop responding. So now I'll go back. I put in my search. Explore the web Copilot, your everyday AI chat. So now I'm going to put the same question in here. And all it did is it took the same thing I would have got with the search engine and made an essay out of it. And it says it got it from theguardian.ng. What's NG? It's the country thing for Nigeria, NG. A government publication of The Guardian again and Wikipedia. Now, I said, who is diverting? So they begin this big bullshit. Now, here's my point. I simply asked, who? The first paragraph is the Nigerian Customs Service has been grappling with the challenge of smuggling and diversion of notably premium motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, diesel cars, been diverted through and other border places. Okay, they haven't answered who. Recently, the Ogun State Area Command intercepted 276 jerrycans, 25 liters each, 9 drums, 5 drums of kerosene along the border, but they haven't answered who. In addition to customs authorities, other entities are involved in addressing the issue. For example, the Major Oil Marketers Association, MOMAN, so there's another one beside the IPAM, has expressed interest in lifting refined. It has got nothing to do with diversion. That paragraph's got nothing to do with diversion. For instance, the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria has expressed interest in lifting refined petroleum products from the soon-to-be-completed $15 billion refinery in Lagos. Lagos is on the coast. It's like the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Go look it up. Swampy. But they're just picking paragraphs out of, this is supposed to be AI, the genius better than humans. Furthermore, the task force on distribution of petroleum products in Kano State has issued warnings to fuel marketers against diversion of efforts by various agencies aimed to safeguard Nigeria's petroleum resources and ensure their proper distribution within the country. What was the question? Who is diverting petroleum in Nigeria? Not that it's happening. The question assumes I already know that. So this is an asshole computer program. Asshole. What comes out of your asshole as opposed to your brain? Your brain works through your mouth and shit comes out of your asshole. That's what Copilot is, a shit asshole. Now, I'm going to say, continue. You did not answer my question. I asked the name, who is doing it. I apologize. Now hang on. I apologize for the oversight. Let me address your question directly. This is not pre-rehearsed. This is modeled on a completely different subject question a few hours ago where they gave me this asshole runaround and they said, oh, I apologize. The diversion of petroleum products in Nigeria involves various actors, both legal and illegal. Legal actors, what do they mean? I cannot provide specific names of individuals involved for legal reasons, but they don't say it. I can highlight the key entities and groups associated with this activity. Why didn't they tell me that in the first place? Why did it waste my time? You know why? It's like when you deal with doctors. There was this experimental survey published about 2 years ago. When you go to your general practitioner and the practitioner asks, what do you have in mind that you'd like us to do? They stop listening on average after 11 seconds. You know why? Oh, and specialists listen a few seconds longer than that. You know, like say a heart surgeon. You know why? I can tell you. Patients are stupid. Yeah, we're doctors. We're geniuses. Look at all that. Well, you don't even know how to use the right words about it. It's not worth actually listening, but as a formality, the insurance company requires me to ask that question. Are you getting the gist of it? I'm trying to use an example you may have had experience with. While I cannot provide specific names of individuals involved, I can highlight the key entities and groups associated with this activity. Smugglers, and it gives me a definition of smugglers. Smugglers, those are individuals, organized groups. It's giving me a definition. It's not telling me who, where, who they might be associated with. They don't have to give me names. Is it the Muslims? Is it the Christian minority? Is it guys from outside? Is it people from petroleum? Corrupt officials? Fuel marketers? Cross-border syndicates? Neighboring countries? Now watch what I do. Oh, it says, what are the consequences of petroleum diversion? How does Nigeria regulate its fuel supply? Now it says, ask me anything. Who is diverting gasoline in Mexico? Does it happen? Oh yes, just like Nigeria. You see how it's going on and on? Let's look at the answer for Mexico. Now remember, I prepped it by asking about Nigeria. You know, I once worked in Mexico. That's the reason why, in fact, I'm interested in, I occasionally read about things like this in Mexico. A long time ago, I worked there for a while. I had a great time. The gasoline shortage crisis in Mexico began in early 2018 when it was revealed that Mexican criminals called, I can't pronounce it, are diverting gasoline from the pipeline. Well, they diverted from a pipeline in Nigeria, too. These illicit activities have sapped approximately $1 billion US, and I asked who. Okay, so they give me an introduction. Now, I want you to understand something. I was subscribing to a YouTube channel, or I maybe still, in which they did a series called Prompt Engineering. What's prompt engineering? I'm not a genius. How do you program the AI large language models to the style of how they respond to the human prompt? The question is the prompt. How does it react to it and give an answer? Prompt engineering. For example, /stop. You know I go there all the time. I'm not promoting anything. Let me show you something. Google restricts ABI chatbot Gemini from answering queries on global elections. So if I ask Gemini who's going to win the U.S. election, it's going to say I'm not permit. It'll find a way to say I'm not allowed to even discuss that with you. Prompt engineering. What it can do, what it can't do, how it does it. Let's go back to Mexico. Now remember, I got upset with the fact that it wouldn't directly answer my question about Nigeria, and then it came down to telling me categories. Who is diverting gasoline in Mexico? So they tell me it's a problem that's been going on from at least 2018. When I worked in Mexico in 1991 to 92, I want to give you, I don't want you to think I'm picking on the Mexicans about stealing. If you went into Mexico City to one of the shantytown neighborhoods up the mountainside, Mexico City sits in a volcanic crater, a large one. What you would see is these wooden shacks and things like that people who are desperately poor, when they came to Mexico City from the hinterlands, they would buy some wires and they would go down to the street and they would hook into the electrical power and they would run their particular thing up the hill to their little shack. So they would at least have a light. And there were neighborhoods where if you walk, you keep tripping over all the wires on the ground. So I worked near a town called Texcoco, Texcoco, we would say Texcoco, Texcoco. It's a town. It has an arena for horse shows and I suppose other things. And when I was there, a horse show was coming to, they were going to have a thing, like a rodeo. And the richer people who owned some horses that had horse trailers, but they would live in the cab of the truck. I saw the trucks parked under the high tension wire that were next to the arena wall, and they had gone, on these trucks, they'd gone up on the roof of the truck and clipped onto the power line to power whatever it was that they, you know how trailer trucks have a place where you can sleep in the back of the cab, and some of them you can make a meal. Or they were living in the back in the trailer, and they were hooked onto the local electrical. See, I'm just telling you what Mexico was like, what I saw with my own eyes. Not what I read, what I saw with my eyes. It's in the early 2018 when it was revealed that Mexican criminals called were diverting gasoline from the pipeline. So you know that there are oil fields off the coast of Mexico. That Mexico is a major petroleum producer in this hemisphere. And they have a pipeline to places where the refineries are, because very often, like in Nigeria, where the oil fields are is not suitable to have a refinery. And then people would drill into that pipeline and take stuff. And then after it's refined, it has to be piped to cities, and either you do it with trucks or Mexico City's got probably 20 million people. Do you supply Mexico City by pipeline or do you supply it by truck? Pipeline. Refined gasoline. Mexico were dividing gasoline from the pipeline. They didn't say raw petroleum. The illicit activities have sapped approximately $1 billion in annual revenue, which had adverse effects on foreign investment, the very investment that Mexico relies on for modernization. But look, let's go into some more detail, it says. Oh, gas station owners. Now let's delve into the details of gasoline distribution in Mexico. They name the major brands of petroleum gasoline stations. What are the unique features of the Mexican gas stations? Full service stations, fuel type, gasoline and diesel, payment options, credit debit cards, language considerations, They've already strayed off the topic. Did you just notice that paragraph? What did I ask? A computer assumes that I live on the North Pole and have no idea what a civilized country looks like, where a lot of people live. See, I'm thinking, it's talking me down to me like the doctors do. You're stupid. I've got to educate you like you're in kindergarten. You're 4 years old. Remember, this is Copilot. This is the leading thing from Microsoft and OpenAI. It's shit. It's poop. Next paragraph. Avoiding scams. You mean the diversion involves scamming me? I don't think that's what's going on. I think when they tap into a pipeline, they put it into jerry cans or into a truck, and they take it to a village and they sell it in the central square. Do you think they're telling me that? Or heating fuel for the winter. Is that what this paragraph's telling me? No. It's bullshit. It's got nothing to do with it. But at the end of this, monitor fuel amount. Keep your eye on how much fuel you're putting in your tank. Or you mean the pumps say, I put in 10 gallons, but they only put in 5? They do that down here. Yeah, people they switch the hoses. You think you're filling up your car, but you're filling up the car next. Calculate change. Be aware of the notes you're paying with and expect it. What? That's got nothing to do with the question. And notice that this paragraph that goes off, way off, has nothing to do with the... They went into telling me about all the unique kind of features in Mexican gas stations. These features are available only in Mexico. You would never find them in Asheboro, North Carolina. Except it's a description of what's here in Asheboro. So this is bullshit. And the computer can know that I am in the United States and not an Eskimo in the North Pole with a satellite link. You see, I'm ranting. This is all bullshit. This is what's going to take over the world. We got to worry about it losing our jobs because these computers are so much smarter than us. Right? Remember, the gasoline shortage issue is multifaceted, involving criminal activity, government policies, and market dynamics. So you know what I'm going to say next? I'm going to say, you were not specific about criminal activity and just went off on nonsense. I apologize for any confusion. Look at how it's going. I apologize for any confusion in my previous response. Let's address the criminal activity related to gasoline. Isn't that what oh, and then it names, that gives me that Spanish word again, Mexican Spanish, are the central figures involved in this illicit process. Here's what you need to know about them. Who are they? Well, they originated in Mexico and referred to individuals in organized crime groups in fuel theft. In other words, they're the mafia. They specifically target petroleum pipelines operated by Pemex. You notice how they suddenly became specific? They mention another company, but now they say it's Pemex that's the main target. Why would that be? Because Pemex is 90% of it. The criminals tap into the pipeline, siphon off gasoline, and then sell it on the black market. How do they operate? They locate vulnerable sections of the pipeline. Yeah, out in the woods, over the mountain, where nobody can see them, right in broad daylight, where the cops can't see them. Often in rural and less patrollable areas. I just said it. They use rudimentary tools. Yeah, they just use an electric drill. And then they became specific about the methodology, but it's still treating me as an asshole and doesn't get down to the specifics of who and where they are. And then they repeat the nonsense again. Revenue loss, safety risks, fuel shortages. This is all kindergarten. It's chicken shit. It's poop. A multi-billion-dollar criminal activity gets kindergarten level answers. Even a 10-year-old knows this stuff. 10-year-olds watch TikTok. They've seen all this bullshit. You're worried about the future of AI? Now, I'm going to say something. I'm going to refer back to prompt engineering. Google doesn't want to have this machine say anything that can get it into a $1 trillion lawsuit. So if you think you're going to actually get any kind of specific kinds of answers on almost anything that could even remotely involve a legal reaction, it's going to talk to you like you're a 3-year-old. It's going to assume that you live on the North Pole or in the middle of the Amazon jungle and you walk around naked and you don't even know what a written language is. Oh, they may be using good vocabulary, but basically it's chicken shit. Now, I knew I was going to do this. And I remember I did Nigeria and I did Mexico because I happened to know about both of those. And it's a similar topic. And they took a different approach for each one because the amount of specific information about Mexico is more available to the United States than what is in Nigeria. See, that's why there was a difference in the way they did it. People in the United States have talked more about what's in Mexico than in Nigeria. The original way I practiced on this and discovered this BS machine is that I asked it about why is there a backlog for a certain, and then I named a prescription pharmaceutical. And it went through this bullshit. It just went off on this bullshit. And I knew it was going to do it here if I just asked it something completely different. And it did. This is all bullshit. The thing about it is that it's able to compose what looks like erudite English sentences. You understand the word erudite, don't you? The meaning of erudite. Having or showing knowledge that is gained by studying, possessing or displaying erudition, an erudite scholar, erudite adverb. Erudite leaves the adverb. The AI machine is able to appear to be an erudite scholar and expert, so long as you don't know anything at all. But the moment you actually know anything, you can see that it's a stupid little child speaking like an adult. It's at the level of a baby, but able to speak sentences that seem like they're adult. That's the actual status of OpenAI and Copilot. And, oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Look at how important it is. Copilot in Windows 11. Microsoft, Copilot in Windows and other AI-powered features. Discover the power of AI with... I've never seen this before. I've heard mentions of it in the stuff that I read. Kickstart your Windows 11 experience. Along with other AI-powered features, Copilot in Windows can enhance your creativity. They're building it right into the operating system to control you. Copilot in Windows is available in preview, select audience. Some people, when they download it, depending on who they think you are, they're wedging Copilot into it, but not into everybody's latest updates. Oh, and on Windows 10, well, they haven't done it to me yet, but I can always hope for it, right? And on Copilot functionality in Windows 10's PCs is more limited than in Windows 11. Why would that be? Because they're trying to kick the shit out of Windows 10 and get rid of it and make everybody go to Windows 11, which requires half the computers of the world to be thrown away because there's a certain cryptographic device in there that's not in 70% of the computers of the world. And this is a way for the IT industry to and computer makers to really go crazy. So you think that the Windows, the software people aren't cooperating with Intel and those people? When I say Intel, the computer with like Dell and stuff like that. They want you to throw away all those computers. They run Windows 10 fine. Oh, but they're not safe. Each version of Windows was replaced by one that was very different. And then after a couple of years, they then just shut you down and gave you no updates on the ones that you were using before. Like XP was a revolution, but then they wanted to kick XP out. And then 10 years later, they're complaining about how many computers are still using XP, even though those stupid people don't have any security updates. It's because people were getting what they needed out of the computer. Why should they spend any money? See, I'm ranting. So I just took you on a tour of Microsoft Copilot. They're the ones that put the big money into OpenAI. And you should go see what the CEO of OpenAI is involved in. Do you think it's AI? Involved in other ventures. Let's see what it says. Yeah. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, this is CBS 2024, this is February, old news, is reportedly seeking trillions OpenAI CEO reportedly seeking trillions of dollars for new AI chip project. Trillions! Yes, they want you to throw all those old computers away. And everybody's working on it, whether they're building coolers, mouse, Windows operating system, chips, you name it. They want you to throw all that stuff away so that you can use Copilot and be treated like a baby. You'll see it's all coming true. Steve A. before you. Now look, Microsoft, the government of Mexico, the government of, please don't sue me. I'm just an idiot ranting. Steve A. before you, just having fun, ranting, saying see you at 73.